Hi, welcome to the show. My name's Jesse Goldberg, and my guest today is Johnathan Pushkar, who's got so many things to talk about. I don't know if we're going to get into everything, but we'll try. Johnathan, you were here before.
I was, many years ago, but it's good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Johnathan is this guy who does a lot of things. He's an artist, a signed artist for a record label, Gem Records, and he's a social media guy, Lego something.
Yeah.
You do Lego something, and you do a lot of things. Anyway, and very interesting type of songs he does. It's like 60s stuff, but not 60s like classic rock, different kind of 60s. I can't explain it.
Yeah,
Monkey,
call it
stuff like that.
I call it like 1964 radio hits meets Stacy's mom. It's kind of like that. It's retro rock is the term I like to use.
All right, retro rock. We're just coining it right now. So anyway, let's start from the beginning. Where are you from?
I'm from just south of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Right.
I grew up there playing in a Beatles tribute band, actually. I was Ringo in the band, and that's kind of where I got my start in the music business, because I ended up managing the band and doing our social media at the time, so it really taught me the tactical ways of booking gigs, promoting a band, networking, so on and so forth.
When did you come to Nashville?
Well, I was in that Beatles tribute band all through high school, and then I moved to Nashville to attend Belmont University in the fall of 2014. So I did my 4 years there, and it's interesting,
Do you have a music business degree or something?
I have minored in music business. I majored in public relations, so I kind of married the two with the social media marketing, music business, and it made a little more sense for me to do that education track.
So I saw you have a bunch of videos on YouTube, right? And one of them I saw you playing the drums. So I guess you play, what do you play? Drums and guitar?
Yeah, I play everything. I play guitar, bass, drums, and every now and then I play the lottery too.
Yeah, do you play keyboard at all?
No keys.
No keys? Anyway, you got this one video I saw that you do like 20 monkey songs or something like that.
Yeah, we did that a couple months ago.
With the guys who originally played with the Monkees.
Yeah, it was an absolute blast. It was over at Wind Down Nashville here in town, and that's owned by John and Amy Billings. John Billings plays bass with Mickey Dolenz now, but he's been with the Monkees for years. And at that gig, we had Sandy Gennaro on drums, who played with the Monkees for over a decade. And prior to that, he was with Joan Jett, Cyndi Lauper, so many big hits. And then my buddy Philip Schaus was on lead guitar, and he's out with Accept right now, and he plays with Gene Simmons and all kinds of guys. And then I was singing lead and playing a little 12-string guitar that night. So we had quite the hodgepodge of musical backgrounds, but it came out and we played just about every Monkees hit in the book and even some of the deep cuts.
Right, and I also saw one where you played with Billy J. Kramer.
Yeah.
The Bad to Me guy.
Yeah, a couple years ago at the NAMM show in Los Angeles. Billy was there, and I got to get up with my friends Bill Sinkay and Jeff Allen Ross and did Bad to Me with Billy J. Kramer. So me being a 60s music fan, that was about as cool as it
Well, you're
could
so
get.
young, and what brought you to 60s music like that? Especially that kind of 60s music. Most people now are into like Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and all that kind of classic rock type of stuff. What brought you to you did one I really like, you did a cover of Snoopy's Christmas.
Yeah,
with, with Snoopy and the Red Baron are together, and Red Baron's just about to get him, and he says, "Merry Christmas, mein Freund."
Yeah. I'm a big 60s music fan, particularly like from 62 to 65. I love it all, but that's like really the sweet spot for me. I think 1965 is one of the greatest years in pop music ever. You get the Beatles' Help and Rubber Soul, Beach Boys Today. You've got the Kinks at the top of their 60s
Rolling Stones,
game,
Satisfaction.
Rolling Stones. Yeah, you just have so many big hits. But how I got into that is when my dad would drive me to school as a kid, he had the Beatles One album with all their greatest hits. We just listened to that on the way to school every day, 5 days a week. And so I like to say the Beatles got injected in my veins at that point because I knew all the words as a kid. I knew all those big hits.
Did you start playing early as a kid?
No, not really. I didn't start playing until I was around 10 or 11, playing guitar. I took some drum lessons earlier on, but didn't really stick with that. And then when my friends and I, 8th grade going into high school, started that Beatles tribute band, I was the only person that knew anything about drums, so I got relegated to drums and taught myself. Then I started teaching myself instruments from there. So I'm mostly self-taught for them.
Were you singing, playing the drums like?
Yeah, and I sang a couple Paul songs too, because you only have about 13 Ringo songs to pick from, so I ended
Right.
up doing a couple Paul songs too.
All right, so let me get back. You played with Mickey Dolenz on some recording or something? Or
Yeah,
backed
yeah.
him up on it's something. It's one of these things. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, it's this Mr. Rogers album right here.
Yeah, Mr. Rogers' album, which we produced with Dennis Scott.
Yeah, Dennis Scott was the producer on it. I was an associate producer, helped bringing it to life. And Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees has a track on there.
What was the song?
It's called Perfectly Beautiful Day. And
Oh, these are Mr. Rogers songs.
yeah, Mr. Rogers wrote hundreds of songs that he performed on the show, and Dennis kind of reimagined them to fit some super popular artists.
Did he write that
repertoires.
neighborhood song, Beautiful Day in the
Yeah,
Neighborhood?
he wrote that, and the Cowsills recorded that, and I got to hang with them in the studio when they recorded it. So on the Mickey Dolenz track, I got to play 12-string Rickenbacker guitar on it, so it turned out great.
So what was Mickey Dolenz like?
He was a blast. He is an absolute workhorse in the studio too, just down to get whatever's needed. And he actually hit a couple opera notes for us too in singing. They ended up not making the final version of the song, but I mean, his voice at full power can make the glass in the room shake.
Well,
It's
you know that his
incredible.
name was something else when he was on a show called Circus Boy.
That's where he started, yeah.
But his name wasn't Mickey Dolenz. It was Mickey Braddock.
Oh, wow.
Mickey Braddock. And he came. Well, I'm old, so I didn't remember the Circus Boy. But but then he used his real name, I think, is Dolenz, and then he used that for the Monkees.
Love it.
But and so look at all. And what is this record? Well, I know we're going out of order here, but this is interesting. This is a John Lennon. This is you're on this Gem Rec. Tell me about Gem Records before we show the.
Sure. So we'll do a little shuffling around here. This is my first album. It's called Straighten Up. And the first song on there is called The Girl Next Door. And before I put out that album, I reached out to some people I looked up to in the music industry and said, hey, I'm a young 20-something putting out my first serious attempt at music. What are a couple of things that you would recommend doing and some things you would shy away from? And I was grateful that a lot of people got back to me and kind of made a marketing plan based off of what they said they would do. And long story short, the first song on that album is called The Girl Next Door. It's written about the old Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. And I was able to get that to debut on the Rodney Bingenheimer show on Channel 21 Underground Garage Sirius XM. And Marty Scott, who runs Gem Records, was listening that night. He connected with me through a gentleman named Mark Platt the day after it played. And about 24 hours after that, the ink was dry on a record contract. So
And for Gem Records.
for Gem Records, yes, sir. So
The old Gem Records from a long time ago.
yeah, they were the import label from the 70s with Cheap Trick and The Who and all of
Right.
that great stuff. And now
So
they
this
kind
is
of
on Gem
specialize.
Records, this thing?
Yeah, all my music is on Gem Records.
You
They've
have a
been really
song on
good.
here called Isabella.
Yeah.
And I watched that video. It's pretty good.
Oh,
It's
well, I
on
appreciate
YouTube.
that. Thank
Now,
you.
you have like the part with the billboard. Somehow you watch that. We're going to show that video, but it's the part where you're. I forgot the plot, but she's trying to forget you because you're going away somewhere or something like that.
Yeah, the plot of the song is that, the character Isabella, her boyfriend's moving to another area, and I'm
Right.
saying, hey, now that, you're on your own,
Right.
let's see
And
what happens.
who's Isabella in this? Who plays that?
Her name's Fallon Danita, so she lives here in Nashville. And
Is an actress?
Not particularly. She's actually in the animation side of the film industry, but she made, I don't know if that was her acting debut or not, but
What's she doing animation?
yeah, she works in animation.
I mean, like a voiceover, or she actually
No, like
does?
working on creating
actually does
animations
animate-
on the business side. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, on the business, not on the. She doesn't create.
No, she's on the creative side and the business side. She's,
Oh, really?
She's kind of like me. She's got her hands in a lot of fun projects.
Oh wow! Well, I saw you on YouTube. You have this thing on behind the scenes video.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Behind the scenes video, and you talk about that she never went into the antique store or something like that. It was done.
Yeah,
somehow.
so Fallon, the actress, and I were never actually on a video set together. So it was kind of funny that they were able to stitch it together. A gentleman named Skip Stokes filmed that. And it's just such a Nashville story. I had him as a Lyft driver years and years ago, and we connected, and then he was able to do the music video. So that's the Nashville way. You never know who you're going to meet and where you're going to meet him.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. And anyway, we forgot to mention our studio audience.
We do.
We have a studio audience today
Yep.
of Jamie.
Hey, Jamie.
Jamie's a studio audience, and she's also in a Beatles tribute band.
Yeah,
right?
she's in a band
girl,
called Penny Lane, all girls
Penny Lane.
Beatles tribute band.
That's my favorite Beatles song.
There you go.
Absolutely. Every time I hear Penny Lane, I smile.
Maybe they'll be on the show someday.
Yeah. Well, maybe get them singing or something like that.
There you go.
Anyway, let's get back to you. What's this album here? It's a blue vinyl.
Yeah, that's
Look
my,
at this blue vinyl. Hoo-hoo.
you know it, limited edition, baby.
Blue vinyl.
Yeah, that was,
What can I get for it on eBay?
it depends what you start
This
to
is
bid
your
at.
second album?
That's my second album.
It's not released on CD, just vinyl?
It's on CD as well. And
Oh, there it is,
Of course,
okay.
all my music is on the streaming places too. So no
Right.
matter how you like music, you can get it.
Junior's Farm.
Yeah, so on this album, Compositions, there's several tracks that have Jeff Britton as the drummer, and Jeff Britton was in Paul McCartney and Wings in 1974. Paul and Wings actually came here to Nashville. They were staying at a farmhouse out in Lebanon.
I saw there's a whole article in the Nashville Scene about it
Yeah,
a year ago.
not
on
too
that.
long ago. So,
Right.
yeah, he was here for an anniversary of that, and I got to meet him, and we connected. And the plan was to have him play on the second album, but of course, then COVID hit, so we had to do everything kind of digitally. So he recorded the tracks in Spain, and we were talking back and forth. But, you know, how many times do you get Paul McCartney's
Wait,
drummer
he
to play?
recorded the tracks in Spain?
Yep.
Like you just throw the tracks over?
So we recorded it here, and then we sent it to him in Spain. He recorded the drums and sent them back, and
So
then
you recorded
kind of
every-
like a Lego set. We all assembled it here. So.
But when you do it like that, I mean, it's usually the drums are on before or anything, aren't they?
Yeah, so we had it to a click track so
Right.
that he could play to that. But,
Right.
you know, how often do you get a drummer for Paul McCartney on your album? So I recorded Junior's Farm, which of course he played on the original, and that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I saw a video of that one too.
there's a video of
Yeah.
that on
There's a lot of
YouTube as
videos.
well.
You got a lot of YouTube.
I'm big into video because, you know, we talked briefly earlier about my Lego life with my brand Mini Superheroes Today, where I'm on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and I'm always building Lego stuff, reviewing Lego stuff, and talking about news in that corner of the world.
Legos, you're talking about the little things that stick together.
Yeah, Lego sets
my
and bricks
generation.
and figures
Yeah, right.
and all that stuff. So, yeah, that's kind of the other life that I live, and I'm big into video because of that. So I have some stop motion animation videos that I've synced to my music that I've gotten to work with some awesome animators in that field. So, yeah, I just always love flexing the creativity muscle, and you never know what avenue it's going to take, music, Lego, or somewhere in between.
Well, getting back to that Snoopy's Christmas thing, what made you do Snoopy's Christmas?
That's my dad's favorite Christmas song, and I did that as a Christmas gift.
Now
for him,
that was the third Snoopy song. It was Snoopy versus the Red Baron by the Royal Guardsmen, and there was Snoopy Return of the Red Baron, and there's Snoopy's Christmas.
Yep.
And I told you this before, but the guy who wrote Snoopy's Christmas was the same guy who wrote What a Wonderful World,
Amazing.
and the same guy who wrote Can't Help Falling in Love with You with for Elvis. you know,
Amazing.
George
A lot of
David,
big hits.
George David Weiss.
Wow.
Yeah, he used to be the head of the Songwriters Guild
Very cool.
in New York.
So yeah, I got to, you know, do that song for my dad for Christmas a couple years ago, and my mom really likes like 80s rock and 80s hair metal. So unfortunately, I don't know if I'll ever get to do a song for my mom the way I do for my dad, because I'm a little more in the 60s field than the 80s. But
Right.
maybe someday, you never know.
All right, but what else we got here? There's another CD here.
Yeah, we've got a Brian Wilson
What is
tribute
this?
album here
What
too.
is this? Oh, we didn't talk about the John Lennon album, did we?
We got so much to talk.
Which came first? The John,
John Lennon came first.
Okay,
in
let's do the
2020.
John Lennon album.
Yeah,
Now, what
so-
is this? We have a John Lennon tribute album put out by Gem Records.
Yeah, so Gem Records
go.
started doing these annual tribute albums.
we
They're
go.
Gem Records Celebrates.
Right.
And the first one was in 2020 for John Lennon. And I did 2 tracks on that. I did I Call Your Name, the Beatles song, and Just Like Starting Over, the John song. And, you know, being a huge Beatles fan, that was such a fun project to be a part of. And I actually got 2 really cool drummers to play on that. Sandy Gennaro from the Monkees we mentioned earlier played on Just Like Starting Over. And on I Call Your Name, Greg Bissonette played drums, who now tours with Ringo. So,
Well, you on that video with the Monkees that you have on YouTube, you have those guys playing bass and drum, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you should watch that. Anybody out there, go to YouTube and go. Just put your name in Johnathan Pushkar, and you'll see
yep,
a bunch of videos.
there's all kinds of videos waiting for you.
Yeah, but the Monkees one is especially like you cut it up a little, like with a
Yeah, it's a
different
montage.
songs. Montage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else is on this album?
Pretty much everybody that's signed to the Gem Records label. You've got the Weaklings, Midnight Callers,
The
all kinds of
Gripweeds,
great-
the Anderson Council, Richard Barone.
Richard Barone, who was
Barone?
in the Bongos back in the day.
Oh, the Gold Needles, the Midnight Callers. Oh, there's no back. This isn't a.
It's all framed.
Where do you get these things? I've never seen that one.
Yeah, they're everywhere. You
Do they
can
have
get
a
them from me
website?
online. You can get them Amazon, the whole shebang.
Right. And so that was everybody did John Lennon songs.
Correct.
They didn't do any Paul McCartney songs, right?
Only John Lennon.
Right. Okay.
I'm hoping we do a Paul album someday. I'd love that. But right now it's just John.
Okay. Now you did another tribute album to Brian Wilson.
Yeah, the next year in 2021, Brian Wilson was the artist. And
Same guys doing the songs.
yeah, all the Gem Records
Right.
label guys. And, the Beatles and the Beach Boys are my two favorite bands. It literally just depends what side of the bed I wake up on, whoever comes out on top that day.
So your favorite Beatles albums is?
My favorite Beatles album is probably Rubber Soul these days. I love Rubber Soul, but my favorite Beach Boys album is Today. Both of those albums came out in 1965.
Most people say Pet Sounds.
I like Pet Sounds a lot, but Today has like that perfect balance of surf rock, that it's kind of the
Right.
last twinge of surf rock, and then the B-side of Today has a lot of stuff that's similar to Pet Sounds. So to me, it's kind of a marriage of like the two
Right.
different eras of Beach
A lot of
Boys
people
songs.
say Rubber Soul is their favorite album.
Yeah, it's a great album.
Because it's in between the early and the.
Kind of like the Beach
It's
Boys.
the
It's like
it's
it
the
gets you the
transition.
best of both worlds.
So what did you do on this Beach Boy thing? Brian
on,
Wilson thing.
On the Brian Wilson album, I did Please Let Me Wonder, which I just love that
I
song.
don't even know that song.
Yeah, it was. It's on Beach Boys Today, and
okay.
also Dance, 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 which is on Today. But I threw in a little Beach Boys Easter egg at the end, so it's Dance, Dance, Dance builds up, and then I go into Do You Wanna Dance, the Beach
Oh.
Boys song. So
They didn't do that originally, right?
no,
Somebody
it's
else. did
Bobby
that.
Rydell was the original Do You Wanna Dance.
Really? I thought it was another group. Okay.
A lot of people did it.
Yeah.
But yes.
So you did 2 songs on this?
I did those two, and
Oh.
then I also have a third one that's a duet with Richard Barone, and we did I Get Around. So
Oh, I Get
I'm
Around.
singing the
Everybody knows
bass
that one.
part that Mike does, and he's doing the high Brian Wilson part, and that's a lot of fun. There's a music video for that one, too.
I didn't see that one.
Yep.
Missed that one. So we out of this stuff? Yeah, we're out of this stuff.
So we got
Okay.
all kinds of albums here.
All right. So let's go to your social media thing.
Sure.
You said you're also a consultant on social media or something. What do you do with that?
Yeah, so out of all the music adventures and the Lego adventures, I've learned a lot about social media. So I put together a small team, and we create content, we manage content, do the whole thing for social media. So what
For different artists?
mostly...
Say I came up to you, I'm a artist, said, "Just put me on social media somewhere."
Yeah, exactly.
What would you do?
So I like to say it's more focused on the entertainment industry because we work with a lot of small businesses, record labels, things like that for, putting your product out there to
Right.
the world on social media. So I have a small team, and we create content, photo, video, that whole thing. And then I do one-on-one coaching and consulting too with branding, figuring out social media strategy for clients. And it's a lot of fun because every project is its own thing. I work with bands, solo artists, small businesses, authors. If you name it, I've worked with them in the entertainment field. So it's a lot of fun, and every single one is its own thing. So I love the challenge of it.
So it could be somebody, a band, say, make me famous. It could be an individual who has a certain little project.
Yep.
to want
Sometimes
to-
we're promoting an overall band or artist. Sometimes we're working on a campaign for a single or an album. Literally every time the phone rings, it's a different project, which would drive some people crazy, but I love how it keeps me on my toes and it's fresh and it's something new every day.
So you do the same strategy you do for yourself as you do for everybody else.
I don't know if I would say that. I would say a lot of the things that I've learned in marketing myself and marketing projects I've been involved with and clients, you learn those things and then you create a strategy for each project. Because, if I have somebody that calls me that's a blues artist and somebody that calls me that's a country artist, you don't market those the same way. There's a lot of similarities, but each one requires its
Let's
own
say you got a country artist call you on the phone, this is very general, he does a country song and you want to get it out there or something. What were some of the things that you would do?
Yeah, so the best places you want to be these days are, in my opinion, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Facebook is still pretty important too, but it all comes down to your age demographics and what makes the most sense. The reason I start with Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube is because of short form video content, which is kind of what you think of as a TikTok vertical style, tall,
Right.
short, quippy video. There's so much opportunity, at least as we're having this conversation, to, as you might say, blow up with that. and attract a bunch of new followers. And then where I step in is helping you come up with concept ideas for creating content that has potential to blow up. And then once that blows up, what do we do with that audience? How do we move them to Spotify? How do we get them to start coming to your shows? How do we get them to your website to buy merch? All of those things of turning followers into revenue, that's kind of where I step in with the consulting. So it can be anything from how to create content that has potential to blow up to, hey, we have a brand that's blowing up. What do we do with this? Anything in between there is where I specialize. So.
Right. So what about this I thought they're trying to get rid of TikTok or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting times depending on when you're watching this interview. TikTok may or may not have been banned by now. So that's why you want to diversify.
Is Instagram sort of the same thing? Same thing as TikTok, sort of?
They're not quite the same, but there's a lot of similarities.
Which is the one that where you put something on there and it disappears after?
That's Snapchat.
Oh, that's Snapchat. Okay.
Yeah. That can be important for some too, but yeah, that is a good point. Depending on when you're watching this, TikTok may have been banned by now, so we'll see. But that's the thing is you want to be diversified and have your brand, whether you're a small business, music artist, whatever the case may be, in a lot of different places. Having an email list is important, so you always have a way to contact your most tried and true fans. Website's important, so there's lots of cogs in the wheel to keep the vehicle moving, and I love to build that out for people.
There's ways to make money if you're not signed by a major record deal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now I'll be the first to say, Gem Records isn't Universal Records or anything. It's not at that level, but it's been great for me with my goals, with my career. But there are people that want to go the big label route. There are people that want to go the indie artist route. The great thing about the internet is it's opened lots of doors to find pathways to success to make these things work. And Gem Records has been an awesome home for me. I love being with them. But, that's another thing that I consult with people on is figuring out, how they want to find success in this crazy business that's changing every day. So I love it. It's very fulfilling for me to get to see people get from point A to point B.
So getting back to the talking about streaming a second, I have stuff that's streaming, and I feel real excited when I go to CD Baby and my account goes up by 10 cents. That's a big jump.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So how is that? Do you have any idea what these things pay? Yeah,
I mean, the rates, again, that's a thing. The rates are kind of standard, but they also have some flux and change. A big
downloads pay much more than streaming.
Downloads pay more than streaming, and selling physical media pays more than downloads. So, it just depends on your audience. I've been very grateful that the audience that kind of likes that retro 60s style music that I do tends to like physical media, like vinyl, for the collectible nature of it. So that's been very good to me. But yeah, streaming is its own world, and it's definitely an integral part of the music business, but it's probably not the best place to hope for a retirement fund to come from.
I hear from people all the time that that the albums are going away, CDs are going away, DVDs are going away, books are going away, and then I go to McKay's and I say, it's not going away. People still want that stuff.
Yeah, people still love being able to pick up an album,
especially albums.
Feel, and I like to write liner notes in and on my albums, and there's just something about being able to hold the collection of songs. If it resonates with you,
and use it anytime you want.
Yeah, exactly. You never have to worry about a tornado knocking the power out like we have here in Nashville every now and again. And well, I guess if you don't have power, you're not going to be doing much listening, but you know what I mean, knocking the internet out or whatever. Just being able to have something tactile is, it's really cool. And as an artist, it's also very cool to be able to hold your own project, to think that, you conceptualized all these things in your head, whether it's a CD, vinyl, cassette, even those are coming back to some extent. It's just cool to be able to hold the grand total sum of what you've put your heart and soul into.
Yeah, I'm talking to somebody with 30,000 albums, so.
Yeah, there you go.
I do have a lot of them. Anyway, what's next for you?
What's next is I'm getting ready to do album number 3. I'm in the demo phase right now, so recording those demos, going to send them to my producer, Wyatt Funderburk, one of my best pals on the planet, and he works on my music, so you love when that happens. But yeah, we're going to pick the songs out of that and see what comes of it. So it's definitely...
I just happen to have a song right here for that.
Oh yeah,
project.
Do you know?
Yeah, it's right here. This is a good song. Anyway, forget it. We have to get going.
Yeah, sounds good. It's been fun.
Anyway, my name is Jesse Goldberg. My guest has been Johnathan Pushkar, a man of many talents. We'll be back next week with another edition of the show.
Thanks for having me.
Isabella.